Happy August. I am filming this on August 1st, early in the morning, and I am excited to see what August is going to bring. But I need to talk to you about July 1st. Hi, if you are new here, my name is Mary Fran. This is No Excuses, the land where I'm trying to live a life with no excuses. And that includes weight loss, fitness, life, being happy, living my life to the fullest, and doing everything I can to do that. And today we're going to talk about my weight loss journey and do a month in review and see how I did in July and to go forward and talk about August. So I actually do have a journal that I keep track of my stuff in. And I've always looked for the perfect journal for my weight loss journey and my life. And I can never find one that has what I need. So a couple months ago, I started just making my own and I just draw into it. And then what I do is every month I tweak it. I look at the points that didn't work for me and I try to correct them so that they're there. So this month is another one. I think I'm getting pretty close to having it perfected. And then at that point, I will be able to go into like one of my online programs and create it digitally so I can print it up. Let's go ahead and start. I do have a page for goals, but we're going to talk about the goals last because that's just the way it goes. So the first page that I have is habits. My first habit was water, and you can see I have a lot of smiley faces. My second habit was steps, and I did pretty good on that too. There's a fair amount, and exercise also was there. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a trend going on. The first week or two, I was so good, constantly doing what I needed to do. And then the middle of the month, I fell apart, like totally fell apart. And then at the end of the month, I started to pull it back together. So there tells you what might be happening this month. But I started big and I ended strong. The next pages I have are my food, and you can see the first 2 weeks of the month I actually tracked everything. I kept everything going strong. I did. And then the 2 middle weeks, look at that, they're all empty. They're all empty. I fell apart. I didn't track a single solitary thing for about 2 weeks. I'm not happy with that. I can honestly say that I totally didn't fall off the tracks in terms of my eating, but I know that I was way over my limit of where I want to be. I mean, I have a calorie limit of where I want to be within, but be that as it may, it was empty. And, you know, if I wasn't counting it, you know, it probably was a lot higher. You can see the last 3 days of the month, I nailed it. Right back on track. Everything is counted. Everything is in there. Yes. So, highlights for July. The first highlight is I visited the gastroenterologist. I got a good, clean bill of health. The acid reflux medicine, I'm actually off it. He said it will keep the acid low, but it's not going to take away that cough because you have a hiatal hernia. I actually talked to him and I said, my husband and I are thinking about focusing on the weight versus the acid reflux. And he looked at me and he said, 100% behind that. He says, honestly, all of that stomach weight is pushing that hiatal hernia further up. He said the weight would probably eliminate most of your issues, if not all. He said, as a preventative, I should have an endoscopy every couple years. So basically, he said, whenever you come back for your colonoscopy, let's just go ahead and get you scheduled for an endoscopy at the same time. Just because we know that you have this happening, let's make sure that no damage is happening. And if there is, let's take care of it early. So more of a preventative endoscopy versus treatment. I'm happy with that. I don't want to put poison in my body, and medicine is poison. So I'm off all medicines and I'm trying to focus on my weight. So that was one highlight. Second highlight is finally got one of the IRAs that my mom had cashed out. I'm paying off my car. So that is awesome. I do have one other one that is in my name that I actually need to do something with. And then I have another one that we're getting transferred to my name. So we're in the process. But the car paid off. More car payments. And the third big thing that I have going is the fact that I started a 10-week challenge. It started 3 days ago. It's either a 10-week challenge, or if somebody's just now joining, it is a August and September challenge, because that's almost the full 10 weeks. And I'm gung-ho and I'm ready to knock out this 10-week challenge and get this weight off, because, you know, my health depends on it. So that's the 3 highlights I have. Books, I actually did not read as much as I normally read. It's summer. I am busy outside with the dog. She wants to be outside a lot. We're watering, we're gardening, we're doing all that stuff. And I just don't have the time. It's summer. I actually only read 9 books, about half of what I've been reading recently. That's okay. So I did read a lot of fluff, little romance ditties, just because they were easy to pick up. Read a little bit here, read a little bit there, pick it up, put it down. So that's kind of what I read this month, because I was just busy. Out of my favorites, I would have to say A Brilliant Night of Stars and Ice by Rebecca Conley. It was actually written about the Titanic, and it was written from the viewpoint of 2 people. One was the captain of the Carpathia, the ship that actually came to their rescue, and one was written from the viewpoint of like a 3rd-class passenger on the Titanic, and her experience on the Titanic, and her experience getting off the Titanic, and her experience living through that event. And it was a really good book. Second favorite would probably be a tie between The Elephant in the Room, which I did, like I said, review, and The Hidden Life of Cicely Larson. Cicely Larson was a young girl who was put into an orphanage by her mother, who could no longer take care of her. She lived in the orphanage for a while, and then she was adopted out. However, she wasn't adopted. She was purchased from the orphanage by a circus. It works. I promise you it works. She did manage to get out of that environment, and she lived a normal life, and she kept that a secret until she was like in her 90s. And then it all came out, and it's actually a really good book. So how did I do on my July goals? Let's look that up here. Lose weight. I did not. It's a frowny face. That middle 2 weeks really messed me up. Post on my weight loss blog website 8 times. I did it 5. Yeah. I have started posting more. I like writing, and so it just makes me happy. Exercise 3 times a week. I actually managed to kind of still squeak through those 2 weeks, and I exercised 19 times in the month of July. So that's a win. And to read at least 1 edifying book. I actually only read 1 edifying book, and that was The Elephant in the Room. It was a memoir. Everything else was fiction. It was pretty good. So what's happening in August? My August goals. I want to lose weight. I want to post on my website 8 times. And of course here, my normal. I want to be consistent in my 10-week challenge. Last month you could see I wasn't consistent. I literally was really good for 2 weeks, and then I fell apart for 2 weeks, and I didn't lose. Maintained, but I didn't lose. And then I want to read at least 1 edifying book, which means basically something nonfiction. I want to learn something about somebody or about an experience, or I want to learn knowledge. So one of those. The habits that I'm tracking are my steps, my water, and my exercise. And you see, in this month, I actually started to shade in my weekends, and that's basically just for me so I can actually quickly see, okay, I did really good on weekdays, and you know, I can break it down into weeks. I can see with the weekends. I think that's going to help a lot. I realized after I did this that I should have 1 page for my 10-week challenge, so I will be adding that toward the end here. My next pages are my food trackers, and I actually have it done by week, starting with Monday. I have my word of the week at the bottom, which I'm not going to put in till today. Oops. And I am keeping track of how much water a strength if I'm just checking it off if I do it, and what cardio I do. And I need to add in my cardio because I've already done it today. I'm putting in my food, my total calories, and my fast hours. So I have that for every week of the month. And the same thing, highlights, August books, and book reviews. I'm ready to rock out August. Consistency is where I failed last month. Plain and simple, it was consistency. So I'm working on the consistency this month, and I am planning on making August a great month. No excuses.